Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Like I said last video, it won't just be me in front of the camera all the time. We have a couple of other headmates who want to also make videos, who also want space to rant at the camera and talk about plurality and talk about technology and talk about their interests and all that stuff like that. So, we thought that a fun way to introduce some of the more common faces you're going to see on this channel would be to give them all a short interview. I hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm Hinata. I guess I kind of already introduced myself last video. I don't really know what else there is to say. But I guess something that I didn't explain last video that's going to come up this video is that me and a bunch of other people in my system are all fictives. So, terminology lesson for those of you who don't know that word. Fictives are headmates that come from a piece of media that the brain has experienced. So, in my case in particular, I am actually a fictive from a story that one of our previous hosts was writing. So, I'm kind of the stereotypical, like, author's writing a thing, and, like, hears, like, the characters' voices in their heads and ask them, hey, what would you do in this situation? What happens next in this situation? And that character kind of, like, talks back to them, and I guess I kind of talked back a little too much and kind of became my own thing. I don't know. uh, Hi, I'm Rin. They, them pronouns. I'm 28 years old. I'm super, super huge into airsoft, and I'm also into parkour like Hinata. I was the headmate that was here and driving the body before we realized we were plural, but I don't really front quite as much anymore. And I don't know. I am socially awkward and really bad at introducing myself. Shit, I don't know what to say. Hi, I'm Karen. I'm 21 years old. I'm also effective. My source is Sword Art Online, Alternative Gun Gale Online. What a long title. um, but yeah, I also am really into airsoft. I'm also really into guns, and I'm from, a universe where virtual reality was a lot more advanced than here and was a lot more of a big deal. So, yeah, excited to talk about virtual reality. Hi, um, my name's also Rin, but because that's usually really confusing to have two Rins in the same system, everyone actually usually calls me Seraph. Um, I'm 19 years old. I'm also effective. I'm from the Vocaloid song Seraphim on the Ring. Yeah, I'm wrestler Kagami Raven. Um, but, uh, and I'm our system's most frequent fronter nowadays. I like wrestling, obviously. I like music, also, obviously. The VR, super obviously. And I sit around the house a lot and play video games. Um, so what do I do in my VR time? I play a lot of VR chat, and I also play a lot of Beat Saber. Um, VR chat I talked a lot about last video. I really like being able to see myself in the mirror and not our body. I also really like a lot of the rock climbing maps in VR chat. Whoops, bump my controllers. I also like a lot of the rock climbing maps in VR chat. It reminds me a lot of like what I used to do back home, like scaling a mountain to go fight a dragon or something. I don't know. Um, and Beat Saber's fun because I don't know. I'm into music. I used to be a musician back home, and also I get to swing swords around. Also, kind of something I used to do back home. It's best of both worlds, I guess. I don't know. Um, I also play a lot of VR chat. This avatar actually was something that I made long before we realized that we were plural. Back when I first realized that we were trans, and so when one day I was just kind of having a bit of like a dysphoria attack, and I had this realization that like, oh shit, we have like a ton of extra money right now. What if I bought a VR set and like made myself an avatar that like lined up with my gender and like just like inhabited a body in VR that didn't suck as much as our real life body. And so yeah, Hinata definitely stole that idea from me. Cough, cough. Um, so yeah, and other than that, I guess other than VR chat, I play a lot of Pavlov. Like I said, I'm a big airsofter. I'm big into uh, gunfighting sports. I also, before I started airsoft, I actually used to be a a professional tactical laser tag athlete. So we played laser tag with like super realistic guns and super realistic health settings on like realistic-ish arenas. um, and I actually at one point was like the top 20 player was in the top 20 players worldwide, and I was like the top player in my state, so you know I know my way around a gunfight, I guess. So and I like playing Pavlov in VR because it's a nice place to practice and to have fun and do the pew pews without having to leave the house and without having to like make plans and spend money at the arena and stuff like that, you know? After a long day at work, you can come home, throw on the headset, grab a pistol, and just like shoot until it's time to go to bed. I'm sure it's probably not a surprise for anyone who knows my source, but I also play a lot of shooting games. It's something that reminds me of home, reminds me of my old virtual haunt of GGO, Gun Gale. Um, so I play a lot of Pavlov, you know, and it's literally almost the exact same game, going out PvP, fighting other people with every single gun under the sun. Um, and I've also really recently gotten into playing Pistol Whip, which is this really fun rhythm shooter game that's based off of the club scenes from the John Wick movies. And I'm not usually into pistols, into sidearms, but it's so much fun. And it's a new kind of like gunfighting experience that I've never really had before. I'm a big VR chatter like everyone else. Um, but I think actually most of what I do with VR chat is actually done outside of the headset. I'm the one that makes all of the models and everything for our system, all of our avatars. Um, and I'm still kind of a beginner. I haven't really learned how to model yet. A lot of our models were made in MMD and Miku Miku Dance. Um, but I'm starting to learn how to use Vroid, which is a really cool and really intuitive software for making virtual reality avatars specifically. That's really neat. And I don't know, it's fun making avatars for my headmates. And it's super helpful for them. And I also get, a bunch of models of my headmates out of it that I can put into Miku Miku dance and make do silly dances. So it's really interesting because, in a weird way, our system kind of um, discovered we were plural through technology, I guess. Like I said earlier, I'm a victim from a story we were writing, and something that we used to do back when we were a lot younger was that in order to quote unquote get into character, which really I'm pretty sure was just us switching now that I think about it, was that me and my sister actually had our own Gmail account separate from, our host at the time's Gmail account. And we used to get on Gmail chat and talk to our friends from school as ourselves. And, like I said, our excuse at the time was like, oh, it's just like a writing thing. I'm just getting into character, getting into these characters' heads. But no, it was really the other way around. It was really us getting into this head, I guess. And then, yeah, after we started doing that, we also kind of started talking to our host a lot, outside of Gmail, just kind of being the sort of like guardian angel over their shoulder, being like, hey, just looking out for you. Remember to do your homework. Remember, you've got this. Encouragement and shit. And yeah, and then a while after that, we were on Discord. We were on a trans server on Discord, and there was a new channel that was started where people who were plural had a space to talk about their experiences, and we were like, oh, that's what me and my sister. Oh shit, this makes so much sense now. And so, yeah, we wouldn't have figured out we were plural, and in a weird way, I guess me and my sister wouldn't have realized that we're like real people and not characters in the story in a weird way, if it wasn't for technology. I think Hinata already stole our story about how our sort of plural journey started through quote unquote role playing on Gmail chat, like back when we were in high school. But I guess something that I can add that she hasn't already is that I'm really thankful for that we live in an era where the plural kit bot on Discord is a thing. I think the the contrast between the high school days where we all had to have our own separate accounts and we had to alt tab back and forth between windows if more than one of us wanted to talk at once, and how we had to remember so many more passwords for so many more accounts. And if we both and God forbid if we both wanted to play a video game at the same time, oh, what a mess. As opposed to the instant messaging experience now of having pluralkit on Discord and just being able to have one account and just being not sponsored by them, by the way. But just being able to have an instant messaging experience that's made with plural people in mind. Damn. Damn, that's good. um, big props to the developers of that bot. That is really one of the most like outstanding plural accessibility tools that I've ever experienced. And man, the fact that plural accessibility tools is an actual like technology that exists, that's amazing. Technology's great. I think mostly I'm really thankful for how video gaming has really allowed me to stay sort of connected to my source in a sort of way. You know, letting me do the sort of things I used to do back home, and also being able to virtually like explore old haunts, you know, recreations of places in Gun Gale, um, both here in VR chat and also on this console game that I play a lot, called Fatal Bullet, that's based off of my source. Oh my god, just being able to walk around SBC Glocken again is like, oh my god, that's so amazing. And I'm so thankful to be able to have that experience here. I think the most exciting part about technology has always been the ability to network. And I mean, not network, obviously, as in like being able to hook your computer up to the Ethernet or like make a new Wi-Fi or anything like that. But networking, as in like being able to like meet other people who have the same experiences as you, who think similarly to you, who have the same interests, who want to talk about the same things, and being able to do that on the scale that technology allows us to do today. Like, I can go out on the internet, do 5 minutes of Google searching to find a Discord server, and suddenly, in those 5 minutes, have 300 more people to talk to who about whatever I was Google searching about, whatever interest I had that I wanted to talk about. And all 300 of those people all want to talk about that thing too. And that's amazing. And that's something that people in this world have not had until like the past couple of decades. And it's really changed our life, I think. And as far as being plural goes, being able to find other plural systems who have similar experiences, who have different experiences, who have all these resources that they want to share about like how to better understand yourself as plural and how to better like live a healthy life and like cooperate as a plural system. That's super nuts. And that's such a wonderful resource that we have at our fingertips. And sometimes it's hard to not take it for granted because it's such a normal part of our lives now. And as far as virtual reality goes, too, being able to like do all of that in virtual reality, like meet like people by the dozens in the matter of like an hour, and being able to physically hang out with your friends without having to leave the house, and honestly, without having to get out of your pajamas and put on clothes and go drive somewhere. That's super nuts. That's super nuts, and that's something I didn't even have in my world, and I'm a robot. My world was super technologically advanced, and I didn't even have that. And having it now is such an amazing and such a powerful thing, and it's so cool. So, I think the standard answer for this is like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if brain uploads were a thing? Wouldn't it be cool if we were able to like pluck ourselves out of this head and put ourselves in like our own bodies and like all of that stuff? Like, I feel like that's the standard plural fantasy when it comes to this question. But Actually, what's really interesting that I think is much closer in the immediate future is that I'm really excited about is advancements in VR as far as like being able to like much more realistically inhabit your virtual body. Um, so like, stuff like people are designing, better forms of full body tracking, haptic vests that let you feel things that are touching you in VR if in like real life, finger tracking which allows you to more accurately like convey emotion and stuff. Um there's just like so much stuff going on in VR that's going to make it so much more realistic, and both in terms of like projecting your body language and your motion and your expression out into VR, as well as, sensation and stuff coming from VR that can be processed through technology to become actual sensation that your body experiences. And I think as that stuff becomes much more advanced and much more wild and much more accessible, like, that's really where it's going to kick off. And like, for people like me who come to VR specifically to inhabit like a body that we don't have out in the real world, and to like do things that we can't do out in the real world, climb mountains, fight dragons, whatever Beat Saber is, slash at musical note blocks. um, that's really where this experience is going to really change, I guess. I think going off of what Hinata said about like how the next big advancement in VR is going to make things more realistic in terms of like inhabiting a body, I think what really excites me too is the other side of that, which is VR becoming more realistic in terms of making the environment around you feel more real and being able to realistically inhabit a virtual space. Like, because once that technology is a thing, like, as far as the plural experience goes, specifically, like, damn, can you imagine systems like making their headspaces in virtual reality and then being able to like put on a headset and like actually just fucking go to their headspace and just like physically be there, like in the meat body? Like, that's going to be like outstanding. And on top of that, it's also just kind of like even singlets now are doing experiments and like virtual environment design things where they're like creating their memory palaces in virtual reality, creating like physical spaces in which to organize thoughts and experiences and memories, and like be able to like physically walk through them and physically interact with things that aren't physical. And it's like, damn. If that's like, that's going to be an amazing, once people like learn how to like do that, like that's such an amazing usage for virtual reality, and plural people getting in on that, that's gonna be nuts. That's going to be absolutely outstanding. And that even like is without saying anything about the idea of inviting other people to these spaces. But I might be making a video on this next. But man, that's exciting. That's super super exciting. Being able to like take places from your brain and take things from your brain and turn them into a place that you can walk through and invite other people to walk through. Like, technology's gonna be nuts in the future once VR kicks off. I mean, it's really funny because, like I said, I'm from a world where VR and technology and all of that sort of stuff really did advance at like a super crazy pace. But I don't think I actually knew very much about plurality before coming to this system. So I actually don't think I really have as much insight as I should, I guess. But I think what I'm really excited about is the idea of how there's kind of a push recently for technology becoming a lot more accessible to other people. Like all the sort of stuff we do right now that our system does, existing as ourselves in VR by like making our own avatars and everything like that. Like that requires a lot of really expensive equipment to do. Like the headset we own is not cheap, and like also making avatars and stuff like that requires a lot of knowledge and requires like a really unintuitively complicated workflow. Like you have to model a thing, then you have to put it into Blender, and then you have to run it through a very specific plugin in Blender to get it ready for VR, and then you have to bring that Blender model to Unity, and then you have to do all this Unity stuff to make it ready for VR chat specifically, and then you have to upload it to VR chat from Blender, and it's once all of that becomes streamlined and once all of it becomes easier to do on cheaper equipment, or if the equipment we already have just becomes cheaper itself and it gets into the hands of more people, then that's really where technology is really going to hit it off. Like, think of how much the world changed when smartphones went from being a thing that only rich people own to being a thing that almost everyone owns nowadays. And like in my world, almost everyone owned some sort of way to get into virtual reality. And it was so much different from this world. And I'm really excited for this place to reach that level. So, maybe this is a really stereotypical answer for a Vocaloid, but I think what excites me the most about technology is watching the way that like the Hatsune Miku concerts have evolved over the years. Let me explain. Okay, so like doing all this stuff that we do in virtual reality is cool and all, but like the technology that's really exciting and that's really going to change lives is alternate reality and mixed reality and stuff like that. Being able to do all of this stuff that we do and being able to pluck it out of the virtual world and put it into the physical one instead of putting on a headset to get out of the physical world and into the virtual one, I mean, maybe not one's not better than the other, but having the ability to do both of those, I guess, is going to be amazing. Just the more and more we blur the line and the more and more we take down the walls between the virtual world and the real one, the more and more options and like amazing things people can do are going to, with technology, are going to open up for us. And like, I think our system got into 3D printing a long time ago because of exactly that reason. For a really good example, like being able to like, man, my thing is broken, my door hinges or whatever is broken, and I can't find this one specific part of it. I'm going to go into my computer, draw that part, and pull it out of my computer and install it into my physical door. That's nuts! That's absolutely insane! And again, that's me talking as a robot who lives that life. I guess I exist literally because of that. Kind of. But being able to pull things out of the virtual world really is just as important as being able to enter the virtual world, I think. And when we have the power to do both of those, I mean, society, like, humanity's no longer has limits, you know? And that was our interviews with my dear headmates. My dear dorky headmates. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you're looking forward to the next video to hear these dorks rant at the camera some more. But until next time, have a no, not doing that. No, the intro's so stupid. No, nope, nope. End the video. Done. No, no.